Michael Gambon is widely regarded as one of Britain's most versatile and esteemed actors. Lacking formal training, he joined the National Theatre Company and learned his craft alongside legendary members like Sir Laurence Olivier. After 35 years in classical and contemporary theater, he makes his Broadway debut in David Hare's Skylight. I am very pleased to have him here, having seen and liked the play. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Does it mean a lot to you, having done what you've done, to come to Broadway?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, Broadway is famous. It's part of the road you step if you're an actor. You play in the West End, you play on Broadway, you play in Hollywood, and you play at the National Theatre. So now I've done all that.
You've done all that.
The final cog, this is.
Yeah, this is the final sort of base.
I can finish now.
A hole you have to punch,
Yeah,
a card
yeah.
you have to punch.
Yeah.
What is it about Broadway, other than the fact that it is a stop, it is a star to put in your...
Well, the image, if you're a Londoner thinking of it, you're a London actor thinking of Broadway, it's the Great White Way, it's the where you're made into a star, it's the big deal, it's big and American, and that's what it is. That's what.
I have seen, as I said, I have seen Skylight and liked it. Tell me about the character and what's going on here. David Hare, one of a trilogy with Racing Demon, and what was about the Labour Party? Forgotten. Absence
of war. Absence
right.
of war, that's right.
And Richard Hare is directing.
Yeah.
You know, was done in London.
Yeah.
Came here.
Yes.
What's it about?
It's a love story, really. I mean, the Americans, I think, would perceive it as a love story, and the English would perceive it as a political dialogue.
That's fascinating. That's exactly right.
I think so.
They would read into it.
Yes,
The British would.
Yes, but it's both. It's a political, it's two people meet, they know each other, they're in love with each other, but they can't live together.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally what it is, and they have an argument, a political diatribe starts about their beliefs and how those beliefs keep them apart. I play an entrepreneur, a multi-millionaire businessman who
owns restaurants.
Walks into her apartment, never stops moving. I keep moving all night. That's my secret.
Why is that? What's that about? Is it nervousness, anxiety, or
no?
just...
It's taking over her domain. I flick cigarette ash on the floor. It's turf. I walk around. I pick things up. I expand into the room. I become this big figure. I never knew how to play it in rehearsals, and then Richard Eyre, the director, gave me that clue. He said, "Why don't you try?" Never sitting
Take
still.
over her space.
Take over. So as soon as I did that, I put the right pair of shoes on so I felt light on my feet. Yeah. That solved the problem.
I want to come to the performance a little bit more about what we're seeing here in Sky. David Hare says that one of the trilogy that he's written. Tom is a businessman who was very successful in restaurants.
Yes.
Kira came to live in his house
with
where
him and
his wife was living, and then his wife discovers that they're having an affair. And she flees. Kira flees.
Yes. Well, he tells his wife that.
He tells her, that's right.
In order to bring it to a head.
Yeah,
because he wants to leave his wife and marry Kira.
Yeah.
Marry the young woman. Wants to finish the marriage. But the only way he knows how to do it is to leave a letter around in the kitchen, which the wife discovers. But then the girl finds out what's happened. She can't face it and runs away.
But she evidently had told your character that she's going to do this if the wife discovers.
Yes, that's right.
So you knew she was going to leave, or
I suppose I didn't believe her.
Yeah.
I didn't believe her. I thought she won't go. So the wife finds out, but then the wife gets cancer.
Yes.
And dies 3 years later.
Yeah. And then because of the son, you come to her.
I come to her
apartment to see if you can, because you're in agony.
I'm in agony.
Suffering.
I'm lonely. Can't sleep.
Yeah.
I need her. I love her. So
You've never forgotten her.
Never forgotten her. She burns in me. And so I come to get her back.
Why did she engage in the affair in the first place?
Well, God, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You wouldn't have a play. I suppose these things, the writer, he has to push people into situations to get a drama moving. I don't know why.
Kira has to know. Is it Kira or Kara? I forgot.
Kira.
Kira has to know, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She knows why she did it in the first place.
Yes.
She thought it was some kind of perfect kind of thing
she loved
for her.
it. She loved a happy threesome.
Yeah. She liked the family, and she thought her thing was him, and if nobody knew and nobody got hurt, it was just fine.
No. And providing the wife knew nothing about it, that was one of the main things, and if no one knows, then it's fine.
And in the first act, at the end of the first act, I don't know how much I want to tell, but in the first act, they're sort of coming together. They've come in, they've expressed everything, it's all out, and she's now working for the poor, and he has continued to make money, but he's lonely, his limousine driver's waiting for him outside.
Yeah.
And they're coming together.
Yes, they're coming together, and they have a good time, and they go through a few traumatic experiences in the first act, and then they go to bed together.
Right.
And that's the end of Act One. Then Act Two starts, they got out of bed, he fell asleep. Yeah. And Act Two starts, and the play gets much heavier then. And
then they find out that what separates them is... But in the end, we don't know.
No.
In the end...
I don't know what it is. I don't think there's much between them, really. I think I quite like him, and I'm sure he'd bend to suit her.
Why do you like him?
Well, I agree with a lot of what he says. I think I'm a bit...
You mean you're a Tory? Or, I mean, in a sense, this sort of expression of individualism.
Well, yes, I suppose I lean to the right as a person. But I do sympathize with him, and I think he's big enough to bend and take her back, to allow her to continue to teach in a poor school.
Yeah.
He wouldn't mind if she did that. He'd send a chauffeur-driven car from...
Yeah, exactly. And what about her?
Well, she could still be satisfied in doing a worthwhile job and still live with him.
Now, does David Hare tell us when he leaves that at the end of the second act, and his son comes up and they have breakfast, which I didn't quite understand the meaning of that, but does David Hare tell us what's going to happen to them? Do we know? Is it obvious? Is it written?
No. It's just left.
This is just a moment that they're not together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Preparing for the role, because you love to rehearse.
Yes.
And you say you get into a role by first understanding the physical thing, right?
What he looks like. You have to know what someone looks like before you play him, don't you?
Yeah. I don't know.
I say to the director, who would you like to play the part? Apart from me, who would be your ideal casting? And if they say, Albert Finney, then I know where I am. Then I've got to be like Albert Finney. That gives me a clue. That's, and then what he dresses like, and then how he moves, and the last thing that goes in my head is what he's saying.
That's last.
Yeah.
You inhabit his body first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look,
that's a bit crude, but I mean...
No. And then the text comes.
Yes, yes.
And how he moves and shapes your sense of how you react to
his rhythms and his moods, and I don't know. I mean, rehearsing is a long process. I never get anywhere for weeks.
You don't?
Flounder around, and then you might be lucky and hit some button, or the director says to you something about the way he sits or stands, and then a little spark goes off and you get onto that, and then you build up on it. It's quite complicated. It's quite intuitive with me. A lot of things I do on the stage, it sounds like a cop-out, but I don't really understand why I do them.
What do you mean intuitive? It's how you feel about it.
Yes, yeah. Instinct.
Intuition, instinct.
Yes, instinct.
How much are you playing, this has been said in some of the people I've read who've written about your performance, all of whom praising it, playing to the audience? It's almost like you are talking to them as much as you're talking to her.
Yeah.
That you are, in a sense, for whoever's in that room, saying, this is what I think, and this is what I feel, and this is what I want, and this is where I'm going.
Well, I don't suppose I should be doing that anyway, playing to them, but I don't suppose you can help it, and the arguments come from you through them back to her. Don't they? That's how they see it. And I have to be careful not to do that, incidentally, not to join the audience and become someone who's laughing at Kira. So and maybe I don't play it right. I don't know, but
I suspect you do. The great Gambon came from Sir Ralph Richardson.
Yeah, so I'm told.
Well, you must know the story. I mean,
well, Peter Hall.
He saw you in
Galileo.
In Galileo.
Yeah, in 1980, and Peter Hall said to me that Ralph had said to him in the office, "Oh, that's the great Gambon."
Yeah.
Now, maybe Peter was telling me lies. I don't know, but it's stuck ever since.
And that's how you frequently, every article you see, it makes its way into the first paragraph.
That's right, like some trapeze artist.
That's right. He's come to do his tricks.
Or
he's come to do his sport.
Yes. I'm not sure it's a good thing, really, is it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it obviously hadn't harmed you, has it?
No.
If you look at Galileo, was an interesting part for you to play because it came after you had played. What was the role that gotten so much attention? Kind of a dim-witted.
I've done a lot of Alan Ayckbourn
Alan
plays.
Ayckbourn, that's right.
I've played an awful lot. I've done 8 plays by him. I always play the dim-wit.
Yeah, and people, you played it so well, people were beginning to say, we don't know about Michael.
Yes,
and then Galileo came along and
and then that was a different sort of part. Massive part, where I aged from 40 years old to 96, and so that gave me a lot of span. And I've been done well ever since.
You've done well ever since.
Yeah.
You work all the time. Take a look at this. This is a clip from Skylight, and we'll see what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Here it is.
We'll call down to Frank, get him to go to the deli, get us something just from...
Hold on a minute. What are you saying? You're saying that Frank is sitting out there?
Oh, yes, for Christ's sake, yes, what's wrong with that?
Waiting out in his car all the time we've been talking.
Sure.
You leave him out there. You really are quite extraordinary.
Why?
You used to tell me that you had this great gift. I remember you prided yourself in what you called your man management skills. And yet you still treat people as if they were no better than objects.
For Christ's sake, the man is a driver. That's what he does. You know full well that drivers don't drive. The greater part of their lives is spent waiting.
Tom, there is some sort of
And
limit.
furthermore, that's what they expect. Frank, I may tell you, is perfectly happy. Frank, for a start, is bloody well paid. He's sitting in a spacious limousine, listening to Kiss 100, and reading what's politely called a men's interest magazine.
Have you looked at it? Have you seen the weather? Have you seen the snow about to come down?
Don't give me all that tosh. Frank is a bloody sight better off sitting in a warm Mercedes than he would be in this fur store you call your house. I mean, this was it. This is it. This is the problem. This ridiculous self-righteousness. You always had it, and I knew. And let's face it, it wasn't going to get any better. In fact, it was only going to get worse once you decided that you wanted to teach.
It's got nothing to do with my teaching. It isn't to do with the work that I do. It's a way of respecting people.
Frank isn't people. Frank is a man doing a job. You're always salving your conscience with these ridiculous gestures. It's got nothing to do with what people might want. People want to be treated and behave like adults for the job they're supposed to do, not just looked down upon as if they were chronically disabled, as if you somehow needed help all the time. This was the craziness with you in business. You could never accept the nature of business, the way we ran our business. Finally, that's why you had a bloody link.
What I really do, unabashedly like this. It is the notion of that was the line that you said. I mean, even the reference to Kiss 100, you know, was a local reference here in New York. Yeah. But it is, in a sense, it's great dialogue. I mean, there is interchange, there is drama. Somebody once said that drama is conflict between characters you like. You know, and you've got that here about people you want to know more about.
You've got wonderful, rich words to say, and it's complex, and there's massive subtext. I mean, there's so much underneath this play. You can make up your own subtext. It all fits.
What's the best experience you've had in theater? What's the thing that's you felt more enriched by?
That I've been involved in? I think I did Arthur Miller's play,
A View from the Bridge.
View from the Bridge in London in 1987. And I think that gave me more pleasure than many things.
Because the character was...
I instantly knew who that man was.
What was it about him that you knew?
His weakness, his jealousy, and his strength. The fact that he loved his niece but wouldn't admit it. And wanted a sexual... I mean, deep down in that play, the longshoreman from Brooklyn wants a sexual relationship with his niece, which is horrific. Anyway, I knew all that. Terrific part.
I think they're doing The Crucible on television here in the United States. I think I may have seen Arthur talking to Russell Baker the other day.
They've made a film of The Crucible, I think.
Yeah, I think they have.
Yeah.
Any character in Shakespeare or in anybody, Chekhov or whoever, that you desperately want to play? That you
well, I don't know. I hate making plans for the future because I always think that the best part of playing a character is when you first hear you've got it. Because then the problem is then you've got to play it. So I try not to think about it. But I suppose I'm heading towards Falstaff. I mean, now I've put on so much weight and all that, I'll have to ease towards him. And so that's an inevitability.
What did you learn? I mean, you knew and worked with Olivier. What did you learn? What do you gain from being associated with?
Oh, he was a terrific showman, you know.
A sense of theater is acting is about showmanship.
Yeah, and showing off, and displaying, and posing, and pacing, and
all the stuff we just saw.
Maybe, yeah. We were all influenced by him at the National. Voice and movement.
Is there a successor to him?
I don't know. I think that those days have gone. I don't think we want one anymore. the world doesn't seem to want that sort of thing.
I mean, they seem to want to put that label on Kenneth Branagh for a while because he was doing all those films.
Yes. I suppose the nearest thing to Olivier would be Tony Hopkins, maybe.
Yeah, today.
But then Tony doesn't like the theatre anymore, I'm told.
In fact, I heard the other day, I read the other day that he was advising somebody, said, go write to films.
Really, yeah.
I don't mean he doesn't like the theatre, but that was basically his
advice to some young person?
Yeah, to get in the movies.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't mean it.
Because you learn so much more.
Yeah, sure.
It's better for you to get that grounding in theatre because...
I think so, because you play a part from beginning to end. No one can ever stop you. As soon as you walk on, you start the character and you go through to the final curtain 3 hours later and no one's ever stopped you. And that experience is invaluable.
Yeah, because you can I mean, I don't know this theatre term, but there's an arc and all that stuff that you can play.
The gradation of the person.
Or if you're doing a movie, you may come in and play the last scene first.
Yeah.
Singing detective. Boy, it made you famous here. I know people that think that is the finest television they ever saw.
Yes. Wonderful script. Brilliant script. Work of art, wasn't it? The writing.
It really was.
Yes. Once in a lifetime. I'll never get one again. That's the one TV series I've had that's perfect.
Perfect. It reminds me a little bit of those, the RAF pilots in World War II. They would never have such high adventure ever again in their life.
That's right, yes. And I suppose that's why when a lot of them got home, they were rather depressed.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I've talked to people, and they said it was just, you saved your country.
Yes.
What else can you do?
Yes, I'll never get a part like that.
Like the singing detective?
On the telly, no.
Never?
No. Oh, no.
On the telly?
On the telly.
Yeah.
Right in the theatre.
Take a look at this clip from The Singing Detective. Here it is.
Yeah. I haven't seen that for years.
What do you think?
Amazing. 7 months' work. That was 7 months to shoot that.
How many episodes? 12?
No, 6.
6.
6. God almighty.
Yeah, it's good, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Wonderful.
I mean, just to hear that music and hear that song, and I could see you watch that, almost going through that everything you felt when you were there.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I mean, that hospital was. We did the whole hospital in 3 months. The bits where he's got psoriasis and he's falling apart, and then we did the singing detective for 4 months with a wig and the handsome man singing at the microphone. And, 1986, long time ago. 10 years.
10 years. Skylight is the play. David Hare's production. Richard Eyre directing. Michael Gambon. Thank you very much. I'm honored to meet you, and it's a pleasure to have you on this broadcast, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back. Stay with us.